Hi, my name is John Grease. I've been at Southwest Airlines for 25 years, captain for 22 of those, and I live in Hazlet, Texas.
So we were walking down the jetway, and my father-in-law, Mr. Spain, came up to the captain and said, are you flying this thing? And the captain said, I sure am. And Mr. Spain said, well, I was a pilot in World War II. And at that point, the captain took him and said, well, you're coming with me. How long has it been since you've seen inside one of these things?
He came up front and sat down and went to go in the right seat, and I said, no, you need to get in the left seat. And so he went over and got in the left seat, and we sat down, and I said, well, this is some of the same instruments that you had 50 years ago when you were flying. And he said, yeah, it looks familiar. And so we sat there and talked and just visited, just sat there with a piece of living history, and he honored me by coming up front like that.
Every time I walk on a plane, I always check to see who the pilot is. I've always wanted to get to see him again, and I always hated that I didn't get his name that day, so that I could have contacted him and let him know what a difference he made.
Him coming up my flight deck, wow, that means a lot to me. I mean, this guy's living history with all his experience and everything. And if you see in the picture, at one point in time, he had his hand resting up here on the yoke like this. It's like, that's a pilot. I mean, that's just a pilot.
You know, my father-in-law's health began to deteriorate very quickly after that trip, and he went into a home, and he had one picture by his bed, and it was him and the captain in the cockpit. He was very proud of that picture, but I think it just spoke volumes of how honored he felt.
I felt like I wanted to be around him. I want him to come up and sit in the flight deck. Just tell me anything. Just tell me a story. Just tell me anything. And to think of a man that had that type of worldly experience up in my flight deck, it was an honor.
I think he just had closed a chapter in his life and didn't really want to go back there, but after this one gesture that the captain did, you know, he really opened up even about just some of the stories that we had not even heard. And so that was a really cool experience for me to get to know more about him.
And it really was maybe 15 or 20 minutes that had this sort of huge impact on our family. I've taken it really as something that I try to do as I travel too, to sort of watch out for the people that have a little bit of a lost look in their eyes, and it's really hard to understand how big of an impact that just a short little gesture could make.